Welcome back, listeners, to Learning from Friends. My name is Cade Curtis, your tour guide on this lovely adventure. I'm so glad that we're sitting here today on episode number 55. We're referencing back today to episode number 46, which deals with the Ford Broncos, but today we're looking at the Jeep because that has a huge cult following just as much as the Broncos do. And so I wanted to kind of have that different perspective. Maybe one of these days I'll get lucky and I'll have somebody with a Corvette or the Mustangs, the Vipers. I always like hearing a little bit about cars. But as you know, before we really dive into any episode, we do my mom's quote of the day. So Mom, take it away.
Today's quote is from Margaret Mead. Never think that a small group of committed people can't change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has.
Thank you, Mom, for those lovely words of wisdom. It's always a pleasure to get to have your voice on here because it really does set that tone for getting into any episode. So today, as you just heard a minute ago, we're going to drive into the Jeeps. And my guest today that I'm talking with is my friend Keith. Keith, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We kind of met up recently, but it's actually kind of funny that there is like a further back connection within our families and kind of arranged for it. So Keith, how do you know the Curtises?
The Curtises I know from hay.
Yeah, the hay business.
The hay business. The Curtises have been in the cutting hay business for a long time. And I used to have horses, had a horse farm, and actually your grandpa used to cut my field and cut my hay and square bale it for me to pick it up. So I met the Curtises through the hay business.
And if you are in Macedonia, Free Home, Hickory Flat area, that goes back dates, you knew the Curtises. There were so many different family names that were out there. And so,
oh, for sure. I mean, that's why we went to them. We knew, growing up in Hickory Flat all my life, we knew who the Curtises were when it come to hay business.
Yep, and if they didn't have it in stock, they know where to get it at, and they'll bring it back down for you. Same with cattle. If you're looking for a herd of cattle or you're looking for one or two here and there, they'll pick it up, they'll take it to sell, or they'll bring it back. I never realized that connection until we were working an auction with with our buddy, George Franco, and he goes, "Oh, he's in Macedonia. You may know him." And I'm like, "Keith, the name sounds familiar, Keith Barnes. It sounds familiar in some way." And then whenever we get there at that first auction we were with, I think it's been a year or two ago, he's like, "Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Is your Uncle Ricky?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." So it's funny how life can kind of like poke you in all different directions.
Yeah, we found out it was a small world.
It is. So now, Keith, if the audience has a large majority has no clue who you are coming into this, can you give us like a short summary of who is Keith Barnes?
Keith Barnes is just a man that grew up in Hickory Flat, Georgia. Some people may not never heard of Hickory Flat, Georgia. It is on the map now.
Yeah, it is.
But being born and raised in Canton, Georgia all my life. And so, like I said, we'd done the auctions together, so we became friends more through the auction business.
Yeah.
And I've been in the auction business for several years, and we both started working with George Franco together. And then what brought this topic up today that we're about to get into, Kay knew that I had Jeeps. I've been around Jeeps for 25 years kind of thing. And so that's about it. I'm just an ordinary old country boy from Canton, Georgia, and loving life.
Thanks for sharing that with us because it's neat to be able to try to connect with people and see what their interests are, what's kind of going on in their life to it. And everybody has that own unique individual story. Now, there are jargon in terms that some people use whenever they're talking about different cars or different things dealing with and working on a vehicle. Do you have any terms perhaps that you may use during this episode that people don't know about that you want to introduce?
Everybody wants to get a name for their Jeep. It's like you got to put a name on there.
True.
And so, you just got to find a name that fits your Jeep. Like my name of my Jeep's Big Rudy. A lot of people ask me, why Big Rudy? Well, because one of my favorite football movies is Rudy.
I love it.
Young people never heard of the football movie Rudy.
He was offsides.
He was, but it was about a football player that was small in stature and wanted to play for Notre Dame, and he wasn't big enough. Everybody told him he was never big enough. And so that's where my Jeep name came from, because my Jeep is not big like some of these Jeeps with 4-inch lifts and 5-inch lifts and 40 tires and all they need to do to them. Mine's
It's
just
a lot.
still a pretty ordinary Jeep. And so I went on a Jeep ride, and they had, these big Jeeps out there, and we're in the woods Jeeping,
Yeah.
and somebody broke an axle, and I had to pull this big Jeep back. And so as I'm pulling back, somebody was with me that night before watching the movie Rudy, and they start chanting, Rudy, Rudy.
I love it.
And
love
so
it.
my Jeep got its name from the movie Rudy, so now it's called Big Rudy. So on the side of my Jeep, it says Big Rudy.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't look to see I see all your stickers in the back, but I never saw on the side Big Rudy.
Yeah.
I never looked at that.
A lot of people ask me, is my name Rudy? My name's not Rudy.
No, it's good to kind of name your cars because it creates its own personality off of that.
It does.
Like over the years, every single car of mine has had a name or a nickname of some sort of fashion. Like I drive a Prius right now, and mine's Polaris, the Prius, named after the submarine because it kind of looks like a submarine in a weird, odd way. But they all gain their different names for different reasons.
And a lot of people call Jeeps in different ways. Like, Rubicon is a Ruby. So you kind of shorten it down a little bit. Like, hey, it's a nice Ruby,
Ooh, I like that.
And then, same way with like a JK. Most of them just call it a JK. They don't go, that's a Wrangler JK. They just kind of shorten the names of them sometimes.
Yeah, because it does make it a little easier. Instead of having to go, this is the model number, blankety, blankety, blank, and
Right.
like you're still talking 2 minutes later, trying to give the answer.
All the Jeepers have their own kind of lingos.
That's what makes it the club. If you're part of the club, you know the lingo.
Right,
You know
yeah.
kind of what's going on. You're in the know. So we're gonna jump backwards before getting into the Jeep section. I want to know about your history with cars. What cars were you brought up on? Because being in Hickory Flat, Georgia, there's, you had a little bit of different variety there, but what were the cars you were brought up in your family?
Being brought up in my family, cars were a big thing because my Uncle Mac, he did car shows, and he was in love with the 66 Ford pickup trucks. So he had 66 Ford pickup trucks. My dad was in love with the Mustang, so he had a 65 Mustang.
Pretty.
In my family, everybody had big cars. The LTD Ford. My dad had, when we were kids, he had when I took my driver's license test when I was 16, he had a Chrysler LeBaron. I call it the
big old
Boss
car.
Hog car.
Yeah, it's a big old car.
It was a big old long car. And when I was 16, I'm 59, so you do the math, you had to parallel park. And the only car he had was this Chrysler LeBaron. So I had to parallel park that thing. So then my first car that was given to me when I turned 16 was a 1968 Ford Galaxy 500.
Still a long car.
Still a long, big old
long
beast.
car.
My first car that I actually bought and went to the bank and financed and gone through the whole thing as you buying a car
Yeah.
was a 1974 Cutlass Supreme, black, and it had called the 350 rocket motor. On the top of the motor, it said rocket.
Yeah.
And that was my best car ever. And of course, when I was 21, we won't go into all that detail, but it didn't. It did not like driving 685 feet into a thicket of woods.
Oh man.
Yeah, no
that'll do
more
it.
rocket, no more 1974 Cutlass Supreme.
I'm glad you're safe because that definitely can make a difference now.
But back then, though, Highway 140 was not as crowded as Highway 140 is today.
That is very true. And who taught you to drive?
Kind of my dad. I don't remember no one teaching me to drive because when I say that, he was a truck driver by trade.
Mhm.
And so when I was 14, I was driving a tractor and trailer.
Wow. Yeah. As soon as you could reach the pedals.
Yeah,
you're
'cause
driving.
he would drive down the interstate and he'd say, come over here. He would just say, come over here and hold the wheel.
My dad did the same thing to me. Hold the wheel.
Hold the wheel.
I need to fix something real quick.
Yeah, and so then he had it was a Chevrolet pickup truck, but it was a 3-speed on the column.
Those things are a pain to drive.
And so same thing, he'd be like, come over here and hold the wheel. That was when I was 10, 11, 12, because they had a full seat. You could sit in the middle of the seat.
The bench seat.
Yeah, and you held the wheel. You practically drove, Then when I was 14, 15, like you said, then when I was big enough to kind of reach the pedal, then he's like, okay, it's time for you to learn how to drive this 3-speed on the column. Time for you to learn a clutch. Ooh,
Yeah.
that was hard for the first time.
I have not.
I have bounced more trucks going up a hill or starting off at a red light with a clutch because you had to learn how to handle the clutch.
You do. If not, you're gonna roll back to the guy behind you.
Yeah. So I don't really remember him teaching me. It was just like nature. Here,
Here, just take it.
yes, come on, take this wheel. You figure it out. And so even though I already knew how to drive.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I had I might not have my driver's license yet, but 9th grade in Cherokee High School, they had a driver's education class.
Who was teaching it whenever you were there?
I want to say Dickerson.
Yeah, that sounds right, because he's still running.
Dickerson.
Yeah, his son's still running it today.
Okay, so Mr. Dickerson, but we took it because you get to leave the school and drive the car.
True. It was an elective too, right?
And it was an elective.
Yeah.
So the only reason we took it was because you get to leave the school and drive the car. And so that was fun taking that, because you literally got to drive the car, with other students in the car. Because if Mr. Dickerson had a special brake over in the
for him to stop
seat,
everything.
he could stop the car if he wanted to. He's already gone, I think, now, so I guess I can say this. But sometimes he would just slam on the brake just to get everybody's attention in the back seat. Because there'd be 3 students in the back and 1 student driving. So it was 4 students and him always in the car. And so sometimes he would slam on his brake.
Wake everybody up,
Slang everybody forward. I don't even know if the people in the back had seatbelts on. So
Probably not.
I couldn't imagine trying to teach a driver's education class like that back then. But obviously the driving habits and me driving all the time when I was a kid and driving my dad's big truck, when he was going down the interstate somewhere, must have rubbed off, because I started actually driving a tractor and trailer for Cardinal Healthcare Pharmaceutical Company, 1989, and here today, 35 years later, I'm still driving a tractor and trailer for a living.
And I love hearing every so often some of your stories that you tell, and always interesting. I always bring a good laugh, because you always have a good story for it. Now, if you could have any dream car in the world, what would be your dream car, and why would it be your dream car? Or if you wanted to go back and be like, hey man, I miss that Cutlass, or I miss that car that got away. That's a hard question.
That's a hard question, because there's so many cars out there that you like.
This is true.
But probably for me, same thing. Go back to that Cutlass. That Cutlass was so fast and so nice to drive. And I love the big captain chairs in it, bucket seats.
Oh, yeah.
So probably going back to that old Cutlass. Oldsmobile made a good car back then. But really, other than that, my favorite pickup truck, I would love to be able to go get one of those again sometime. They're very expensive today. The Ford F-250 King Ranch 4-wheel drive. That's my favorite pickup truck of all time.
Was that in the 80s when that was made?
When they came out with the King Ranch, I think so.
Yeah.
But the King Ranch has super, super nice leather seats in them. Just a beautiful truck. They make them today. They're a beautiful truck today.
Yeah, I remember seeing those. They're definitely noticeable.
Yeah. But the Ford F-250 King Ranch, I would sell my Jeep to buy one of those.
What would be the color you would put in? Do you have a specific color you would like?
Black.
Straight black?
Straight black with some like pinstripes or something on it. But there wouldn't be much, because they make them pretty nice today anyway.
They do. This is true.
But I think a King Ranch today is probably $110,000, maybe more.
Oh,
Yeah.
Definitely not on our salaries by any means.
No,
not on our
not
salaries.
mine. Yeah.
Maybe if we have a long lost relative that leaves us, $1 million, $1 billion, somewhere in that range. You think about it.
Yeah, because I don't think I
no
won
way.
the lottery last night.
So you were talking a second ago about the features on the car. That, hey man, I like those captain seats, and I really liked those leather seats that are there. Are there any features that when you're looking at a car that you go, if it doesn't have this, I'm not buying this car?
Leather seats. I have found out since 1991, and I would never change. I've even bought a car and had them put them in the car before I would take the car.
You take it off. Wow.
Is because all car dealerships, they're nice leather seats. One.
True.
If they're real leather seats. And they're just too easy to keep clean.
Yeah.
They're too easy if you've got a dog to vacuum the hair out.
That's true.
Because we had dogs. So if the dog rode in the back seat from here to Florida, all I'd do is go to the car lot, vacuum, boom, clean, wipe it down with some leather cleaner, and you never knew the dog was there. You get vinyl seats or cloth seats and you put a dog in the back, you vacuum in for days to get all the dog hair out.
I know that for sure.
So for me now, since 1991, I've never had a vehicle that was not leather seats. Every vehicle I have leather seats.
And having a good seat when you're comfortable driving.
And they're comfortable too when you're driving, even though sometimes they can get a little uncomfortable when you got shorts on. But
The heat,
but
man.
I don't wear Daisy Duke shorts.
Oh, man. I think you look solid and sharp in that. Maybe one of these days.
I don't wear Hooters girl shorts when I'm driving my Jeep.
Oh, man.
Okay, that's a picture nobody wants to match.
That'll be the cover for this episode. We'll get a shot you sit in front of your Jeep wearing the Daisy Dukes. Now, over the years, you've drove all over the place and you've done all these different kind of events for it. What has been the most interesting place that you've ever drove your car? It could be on-road or off-road. I was just curious if you have a story or interesting place that you've driven. It could be your Jeep or any other car. Except for I don't think it'd be interesting if you tell them that 400 feet or how many feet it was. I don't think that'd be a fun experience with that Cutlass going into the woods.
Yeah, no. For me, growing up here in Canton all my life, and vacation trips, even young adult trips, was always Florida, always Florida, always Florida. My uncle and them had a place in St. Petersburg, Florida, so every summer vacation it was going to St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yeah.
So when I got married, Cindy had an aunt and uncle that lived in Hackensack, Minnesota. That's the actual name of a city, very close to Canada.
Okay.
And I wanted to drive. And so driving to Hackensack, Minnesota, that was probably the most experiences in seeing the countryside. Going through all the different states.
Yeah.
All the different cities. Because if you go into northern Wisconsin and go into a Denny's to eat breakfast, don't order sweet tea. We ain't got sweet tea.
We got tea.
We got tea. You put some sugar in it.
Yeah.
No, there's a difference. So yes, my most experience is that drive to. Now the next time I went to Hackensack, Minnesota, I found out I'm flying, because even though it was a fun drive, you get to see a lot of countryside, a lot of hours. And then the longest ride, it wasn't that long though, but the most fun that we had, and same thing, kids don't do it today. I had a Toyota pickup truck, just a standard.
Oh, the little tiny thing?
The little tiny Toyota pickup truck. I don't know if it was called a T100 or what it was back then. The Tacoma, might have been called a Tacoma, but anyway, it was just the standard Toyota when Toyota first come out with pickup trucks.
Yeah.
And me and three of my best friends went to Panama City, Florida. And so, but it was still just a one-seat pickup truck. So somebody had to ride in the back.
Ooh, driving all the way down there to Panama City, riding in the back.
You're riding in the back. So I'm the biggest guy of the group. And so I had to ride in the back. So I had to ride in the back of a pickup truck, laying down most of the time, or sitting up, waving at everyone, all the way to Panama City. But ladies, if you want to get a tan,
I bet
ride in the back of a pickup truck all the way to Panama
that'd
City,
be a
Florida.
windbird too. You got windbird, got a tan.
So I remember riding in the back of that pickup truck all the way to Panama City, Florida, and back home.
Man, I would have made them do shifts. Hey, I got to ride.
No, I loved it. It was fun because we like to wave at the people going down the interstate and, holler at the ladies.
I love it. Oh, man, I love it. Now, you mentioned earlier that your family was big into car shows, doing that over years. And do you have some traditions when going to a car show of, hey, we'd only go to specific ones, or we go to this location, or we'd only go to car shows that had this type of car? What types of car shows did you go to over the years?
No, it was wherever my uncle. It was most of my uncle Mac, and most of them was only local car shows.
Okay.
A lot of churches around, have fundraisers. Like Corinth has one now coming up, and they have a car show every year. And so most of them would enter their, like they do now. 4th of July, Memorial Day weekend, there's always a car show somewhere. And so they were mostly all local places they go to.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was a collector of 66 Fords. So that's all he had was 66 Ford
Was his the long bed or short bed?
The short beds.
Did he do the wood in the inside the bed?
I think one or two of them had them in there. And so then one of my neighbors, he was into the, I want to say 60 something year Camaro.
Pretty cars.
Yeah. So he had a Camaro that, and I guess that's when you get to get more into the car show, but we never had that opportunity to go. As a kid, though, I mean, it's just wherever we were taken to.
Yeah, wherever you get the opportunity to go.
As an adult now, I put my Jeep in a couple car shows. Myself personally, I'm not a fan of them now. I don't go to them unless I've been invited to put my Jeep in there.
True.
And why I say that is because a car show, if you enter your car in the car show, you're going to sit there all day long.
That is definitely true.
But I've noticed that a lot of retired people, maybe when I get that age, they like to go to car shows and they sit there and talk to people all day. It's kind of a social thing.
That's true. That's the whole point.
A lot of people know, a lot of people, they're all friends, and they just sit around and talk all day as people walk by and look at their cars.
Now let's jump into Jeeps here.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, when was the Jeep first introduced to the public or introduced out into the world? Because of sometimes cars are private for a little while and they eventually make their way out to the public realm so people see them.
Well, from my understanding from the history of Jeeps, and I looked it up myself when I was buying my first Jeep, because my first Jeep was a CJ7, 1979. And why I was looking up some of the history of Jeeps when I bought my first Jeep, because I bought it in 1995, somewhere in there, 96.
Okay.
But it was a 1979 CJ7. And when I first bought it, every time I would drive by another Jeep, somebody would wave at me. It's called the Jeep wave.
Yeah.
It's just two fingers up.
Yeah, motorcycles do hand down.
Hand down, right. Jeep, anytime you pass a Jeep, you must...
Little peace sign?
Little peace sign. There's just a little wave. And so I'm like, why is everybody waving at me in my Jeep when I would drive it down the road? So I got to researching, why is everybody waving at me in a Jeep? And only Jeeps wave at the Jeepers. They don't wave at the cars or anybody else. You just wave at the Jeep, just like the motorcycles.
Yep.
So when I looked up the history of it, same thing. Jeep, the United States come up with the Jeep was because in World War II, in the rough terrain that they were fighting in World War II, so they had to come up with an all-terrain vehicle that could go through the muck and the rough terrain of World War II.
Yeah.
And they come up with a Jeep, which was really like, I think it's called a Willis back then.
Okay.
Or Willys, Army Jeep. And the nice thing about the Army Jeep was you could ship it to them in a crate.
Oh.
And you could put it together in a couple hours.
See, that's smart.
Because Jeeps are very simple. Jeep has a rear end, a front end, four wheels, and a body and a seat. Because back then they didn't have tops and doors, all that stuff. So it was very simple to basically put one together.
And if you can fit that all in a crate, yeah, that's great. Drop it out and go.
They drop them off, and then, so that's basically, from my understanding, where the wave came from, is because when World War II was over, some of the captains and colonels and all the different, sergeants or whatever, if they had a Jeep, they were letting them bring the Jeeps back home with them.
Okay. Oh, cool. Smart. Hey, because you've made so many.
It's been your Jeep. You can take it home with you, say for instance. And so what happened, and it's pretty neat today, it was a way that if a Jeep passed another Jeep back then, it was, they made it home from World War II.
The veteran that's
there. So they knew that was a veteran driving that Jeep, and they knew this was a veteran driving this Jeep, and they would just wave at each other like, good to be home.
Good to be back. Yeah, exactly. That camaraderie.
Yeah. So the Jeep wave came from basically as a salute to, who made it back from World War II. Because if they were driving a Jeep, they had to get it from World War II. And so basically the Jeep, the Jeeps came out back, at that time. So, from my history of looking it up, the Willys, came out 1941, the Willys MB. It had a Danon 25 and a Danon 27. Danon is the different types of differentials rear ends,
Okay. Yes.
So it had a Danon 25 in the front and a Danon 27 in the back.
And there would always be The Army green? Or are they
Always the
stock?
Army green.
Now I'm trying to remember, did they have where it was the front windshield could fold down or fold up
Right.
on it? Or okay.
The front windshield could fall down.
Yeah.
So then they started coming out with, they changed, I don't know why Jeep still does it. Maybe somebody can call in eventually when this broadcast comes out and tell you. But then they came out with the CJ. So the CJ came out in 1954. And when then the CJ changed a little bit, you know, the Willys Army Jeep was just pretty much, didn't even have doors, didn't even have a top. You know, it was just an Army Jeep.
Just straight Army Jeep.
Just straight Army Jeep. And then when the CJ came out, you know, it changed it up a little bit. No more green. It started coming out with colors.
Got to change up the advertising.
Yeah,
Get
because
people interested.
now it was out into the public, you know. So when the CJ came out, and they had a CJ7, I had a CJ7, and they had a CJ5. The two difference was the CJ5, the front door had a little bit more leg room in it.
Okay.
You know,
For that taller guy.
Yeah, it moved back a little bit more. It was easier getting out of a CJ5. Still always just a two-door, though.
Was that when they started getting higher up too? Because the original Jeeps were pretty low to the ground. Was the CJs when they started getting a little bit higher up?
No, all Jeeps came a standard size.
Okay.
That's the whole higher up thing is just the redneck in me.
That's when it comes to modifying.
I want to jack it up. Once you
Yeah.
can figure out you can lift kits on Jeeps and bigger wheels and tires, I mean that just
changes everything.
yeah. And I'll say this, probably said it more than once. Everybody knows what Jeep stands for.
What does it stand for?
Just empty each pocket.
It's like a boat. Bust out another 1,000.
Yeah, you're going to buy something for that Jeep. That's the greatest. I have more fun with my Jeep, and you see my Jeep, so you know.
I love it, Jeep. I love it.
I've had more fun with my Jeep buying accessories for it. It's like there's a million accessories you can buy for a
You're
Jeep.
customizing. It's your
Customize,
beauty.
and you customize it your way. What colors you want on it, you know, what kind of wheels you want on it. So yeah, you're constantly buying stuff for your Jeep. So that's why they say Jeep stands for just empty each pocket.
Now your Jeep is a little extra special than some of the others to it. What makes yours stand out when it comes to, like, you've got certain colors, you got certain things that yours has a theme.
My Jeep, what sticks out most than some of the others is it's a Bulldog Jeep. I'm a big Bulldog fan. Go Dogs.
I love it. Love it.
So everything on my Jeep is representing Georgia Bulldogs. I have the Bulldog, the original Bulldog head on the hood of the Jeep. Across the front of my Jeep, I thought about this back when Larry Munson had passed away, because many people don't
Rest in peace.
know the Larry Munson, whole saga of Larry Munson. I grew up listening to Larry Munson. And the biggest thing that Larry Munson, one of his biggest sayings was, hunker down one more time, you dirty dogs.
There we go.
Hunker down one more time. And so that was the first thing I thought of. I put hunker down over the front windshield of my Jeep. And it's the kind of same thing. So I put a couple of Jeeps beside it and looked like a little bulldog hunkered down trying to climb up a hill. And so, yeah, so then most everything on my Jeep has to do with Georgia. I got the G's on where my name is my Jeep, Big Rudy. So on the big part, the G's a G, the Georgia G. So yeah, so my Jeep is pretty much representing Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, their Jeep, you can see it from a mile away too. I love it.
Yeah.
Whenever you sit back and you look, it's a beautiful thing coming from a distance. And
It was very fun driving it to the SEC championship at the Mercedes-Benz a couple
down in
years
Atlanta.
ago.
Oh, yeah.
Because they got a lot of people. And I also even, my Georgia Tech fans hate this, so that's why I'm saying this if he hears this broadcast. I did it just to irritate the hell out of him. I have the Georgia fight song on my horn.
You do?
Yeah.
What?
I play it when I leave.
Yeah, totally. I gotta hear that.
So I can push the little button in there.
That's amazing.
It
I did not
irritates
know that.
everybody when I play it.
Is that? Can you change the different horns, or is that just the one horn that you've got installed?
No, I've installed it.
Okay.
But the only thing is, when I push the button to play it, I can't stop it.
It has to go the whole way through.
It has to go the whole way through. So everybody's like, because it's loud too.
Are you still honking at me?
Yeah, so it's very loud.
Who are you honking at?
But then the fun of Jeeps, and even now, because people try to look for Jeeps, is all the different ones. Because like I said, the Willys come out, and then the CJ came out, and then 1987 the YJs came out, and the YJ, the only thing to really tell a difference from the YJ to the JKs now, and everybody knew that it was a YJ. The YJ was the biggest, in my opinion, was probably the first biggest change because it came out with square headlights.
Oh.
The Jeep has always been a rounded headlight. The whole grill and the circle around the headlight, just a round headlight.
Yeah.
The YJ, when it came out in 1987, the grill was changed and it came with square headlights. So now people, search and look for certain Jeeps, kind of thing.
Yeah, those special editions are special, like, oh, we
Right.
only did this for so long.
And I guess they didn't like the YJ square headlight, or Jeep maybe didn't like it. So then 97, they came out with the TJ.
And changed it back.
And they changed it back to the round headlights.
There's always going to be that they call it like the ugly year or the mismade one that we wanted to experiment and try to change something, and everybody freaked out.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Coke and classic
Coke 2. Yeah, whenever they do Coke 2.
Yeah,
that lasted for a year or two, something like that range, and people got so upset.
And then after the TJ, 2007 is when the JK came out. And I have a JK. I'm a JK fan. When the JK came out, they kind of changed the body style a little bit. They changed the grill. It just, to me, it came out more of a beefier, meaner looking Jeep.
Was that when they introduced the 4-doors on it, or was that earlier they did the 4-doors?
The 4-doors, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I'm thinking the 4-doors were probably introduced in the 80s.
Okay.
Because my Jeep was a 79, and it was not a 4-door. And looking in the history, the Army Jeeps and the CJs were not 4-doors. But then in 87, I'm trying to think if there was a YJ that was a 4-door.
Yeah, because I don't remember
We're going to have to ask Siri that.
We'll have to look into that later. Yeah, I was always curious on that because I never saw them until they made a big deal in the early 2000s whenever they were advertising. God, you can get fit for your family and more. Look at this. The 4-door
maybe
Jeep.
2000s when they came out with 4-doors.
Who knows?
I know now.
I'm sure somebody will leave a bunch of comments about saying it.
Because I always had a 2-door from 79 up. I have a 4-door now, but it's so much nicer. And everybody has their own belief, like, no, it doesn't, no, it does. I know off-roading in the woods, and I'm talking not, dirt roads where people go today.
Yeah.
I'm talking like real off-roading in the woods.
When you got no road, you're just driving.
You're just driving through the woods.
Driving.
The 2-doors were nicer, though, because you could turn corners.
That's true. Because it's longer now.
It's longer now.
4-door.
Yeah. Even now, they had the Gladiator. And the Gladiator's basically a 4-door with a pickup truck on the back of it.
Back is big. They got that back little
long.
extra little bed there on the back.
So now there's actually trail rides that we go on during Jeep Fest, and they have a big sign up, no Gladiators.
Makes sense, because then you're just going to have to pull them out all the time.
It's too long to make the turns around the trees and through the woods, kind of thing. So mine's a JK, but I've had a lot of people ask me about my Jeep. And that's kind of like why I wanted the Jeep that I have. It's a 2018 Wrangler JK. Mine is the last JK. So once they change, they don't make them back.
Yeah, which is smart. We want to keep evolving.
I bought mine in July of 18, and in, I want to say, September of 17, they brought out the new JL. And so after so many months into 2018, they didn't make any more JKs. So when the JLs came out in 2018, so when I went to the car dealerships looking for a Jeep to buy a brand new Jeep in 2018, everything they had on the lot was JLs.
Yeah, because they're trying to get that next year model out there.
Yeah. So, and I didn't like the JL. People was like, why do you like the JL? JL changed the front quarter panel, if you want to call it a quarter panel. They put a vent thing in there. They claimed it would help keep the motor cooler.
Okay.
So that made a new look on the side of the Jeep. And then they started changing things because by 2018, when the JLs were coming out, everybody was wanting Jeeps. Everybody wanted Jeeps even before that. Number one complaint anybody would tell you today. I bought a Jeep. I love my Jeep, but dang, it don't give you good gas mileage.
That's true. They definitely get between
We
what is
should have
like
knew that before you bought a Jeep.
9 and
They
15.
do not. You're not getting 30 miles to gallon on
no,
a
you're
Jeep.
not. No, you're
I get
not.
12.6 miles a gallon on my Jeep. So when the 2018 JLs came out, they wanted to draw more people to Jeeps. Yes, I mean, that's the car dealership.
Oh, yeah, you want to. You want to sell a car.
You want to sell a car. So they started lightening up the Jeep. They started taking things off and making it to where they can make the Jeep lighter and get better gas mileage. And they started coming out with 4-cylinders. Okay, I'm old school. There's not a 4-cylinder in the world going to pull me up a mountaintop. And so, they started coming out with 4-cylinders in Jeeps. And
But I ain't going to pull you up a hill. That's true.
Yeah, it's not going to pull me and another Jeep up a hill. Because there's still a lot of people that loves the nice thing about a Jeep. I give an example from today. Woke up to come over here to your place, and it's a beautiful day outside today.
Yes, it is.
And I thought, hey, I want to take my freedom panels off, which is basically just like T-tops.
Yeah, T-tops. Yep.
Yeah, the young people listening to this thing don't know what T-tops are.
No, they're not.
But basically it's like T-tops, but bigger. And you take your they call them the freedom panels. And I thought, I'm just going to take my freedom panels off because I like
it's like a sunroof.
Like a convertible.
Yeah, it's like a convertible sunroof.
A convertible sunroof. So, it's nice on a beautiful day. Hey, just take the freedom panels off, drive around in my convertible Jeep, you want to call it, or take the whole top off. And then going back to those Jeep lingos, I'm going naked today.
Woo.
I got the top off, both tops. So if you say, I'm going naked today, that means you took the whole top off your Jeep and everything.
And taking the doors off, I bet are a pain if you ever do that one.
Well, it's the same thing. So not now. I like the JK, the JLs, the TJs, the CJs, all the old Jeeps. Taking the door, that was part of the fun of a Jeep.
True.
Like my JK now, I can take the doors off in 2 minutes. It's 2 little screws and poof, pop it off. But see, now it's the JLs. There's a hinge. You got to undo the hinge thing.
True, yeah.
You got to undo this. You got to undo that. Whole lot more involved taking the doors off.
Comes down to the safety idea.
It comes down to safety. But yeah, because that's the fun about a Jeep. You don't have to have doors on it. You don't have to have a top on it.
Nope.
And that's the fun about a Jeep today too. Some people are like, it's not very safe. Yeah, it's not going to protect you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But a Jeep really wasn't made, going back to World War II, a Jeep wasn't made to drive to California.
That's definitely true.
On the interstate, with the doors and the tops off.
You want to see your gas mileage drop, take your doors off.
Yeah.
Ooh, you lose all that drag.
Right. So, but if you want to live in Florida and drive on the beach every day,
yeah.
Oh, you never put the top on or the doors on.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And now they're so fun today because they've just gotten so popular. I don't like the word cult, even though some people want to call it that.
Yeah, the cult following.
The cult following. It's just people having fun. People not having to worry about the world.
Take a break from the world.
Take a break from the world. And when I say that, like the Jeep Club, somebody started having Jeep clubs. I'm in a Jeep club.
Yeah.
I'm in Foco Jeep Club. I love Foco Jeep Club. Somebody says, why'd you pick Foco Jeep Club? You don't even live in Cumming, Georgia. You live in Canton, Georgia. Canton has a Jeep Club. Foco Jeep Club will draw me to them. Same thing. People are just as nice as they are in Canton or if they're in Atlanta or anywhere. People do things the same. But when the Foco side, they draw me to that. And a lot of Jeep clubs do it now, not just Foco. I mean, they do it all over, and people never hear these things.
True.
They do things for the community.
Okay.
So, like, we do a cookie drive every year.
Yay, cookies.
And we do a cookie drive on Christmas Eve. So, on Christmas Eve, there will be 100 Jeeps show up, and they would go to all the fire stations and police stations and give them cookies and milk and Merry Christmas. and
I
we would
love
sing
that.
some songs and that kind of thing.
It's like caroling in a way.
Exactly. And it's always nice to see that many people giving up their time on Christmas Eve
Yeah, that's definitely a big commitment.
to come and do this. And everybody drives their Jeeps. There's a whole line of Jeeps, you know, going into all these different places and giving out cookies.
I bet you that's fun, pulling off on the side of the road, trying to walk everybody over to the fire station or somewhere.
And so then, same thing, 4th of July parade. You know, I got to dress my Jeep up for all 4th of July stuff. So we put our Jeeps in the 4th of July parade. We put our Jeeps in the Christmas parade. My second year with my Jeep, I won first place for the Christmas parade.
It is a very beautiful Jeep.
You decorate it for Christmas. So that everybody goes out for all these things for the parade.
Yeah.
So my big thing was I put all the lights all over the Jeep, Christmas lights all over it. And then I hooked up to a little trailer and I bought me a 14-foot. I'm trying to think of the Frozen guy's name. So the kids were all hollering at me because I don't say it right. Olaf, Lolaf.
Oh yeah, Olaf.
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 Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Olaf.
Olaf. Okay.
Yeah.
Olaf. I'd say Olaf, Olaf.
Well, you're at Christmas, so Olaf. Yeah.
Olaf. So I bought a 14-foot Olaf and put a generator in the back of my trailer. And there's nothing like them at Jeeps. You can plug in a generator in the back of it.
Oh yeah, they got the good hookups.
I had him blowed up and I tied ropes on him and I sat behind him and I would make him dance as we're going through the Christmas parade.
That's awesome.
And so, and then little kids had fun, you know, because I would be like, Olaf is waving at you, Olaf. And then they would correct my, you know.
Oh, correct.
Oh, they would correct me about what his name was.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's this guy's name again? You know, and all the kids would have fun screaming it out, you know, and everything. So that's the nice thing about, and then the funny thing about Jeeps, Jeepers will help other Jeepers.
Yep, you got to have that community, man. That's the whole thing.
I have been to Jeep things where, like Jeep Fest.
Yeah, that one's in Jasper, isn't it?
It's in Jasper. I call it the biggest redneck weekend, Labor Day weekend of all time.
They shut down
They
all
shut
of Jasper.
But
You do not drive up there that
the
weekend.
story of Jeep Fest, because I was in the first one.
Wow, OG.
I had my 1979 CJ7. I lived in Jasper, Georgia then, because I know I said born and raised in Canton, Georgia, but I moved to Jasper, Georgia for 9 years,
Is that when you were raising the dogs?
raising horses.
Horses, that was
Yeah.
it.
Well, we were doing the border collies then too.
Yeah.
And so a very good friend of mine, David Key, worked for Pickens County Sheriff's Department. And so this was probably 15, 16 years ago. Can't remember now. And says, hey, we want to do a fundraiser for the boys club of Pickens County
Okay.
and raise some money. And we got an idea of taking some guys in Jeeps and going some private property in Pickens County and ride in the woods. Sure, I'll give you $25
That builds up fast.
and get to go ride in the woods. So that day there was 32 of us. It's coming up Labor Day weekend. There's already 2,000 registered.
Wow.
And it's no longer $25 to enter.
Is it still in the same location though?
No, so the original location when it got big,
Yeah.
okay, the original location when it got big was behind the Ingalls Shopping Center. They made an obstacle course back there. It was all back there behind Ingalls. But because once it started being 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 Jeeps,
You can't fit all that right there.
you
That'd
couldn't
take
fit
up
all
a
that
lot.
behind Ingalls Shopping Center and too much cutting into the traffic of 515
Yep.
and all that stuff. So down off of 53 Highway going towards going towards Marble Hill,
Okay.
they lease a hayfield down there, and they've been leasing it now for the last 7 years, 8 years maybe.
Okay.
And that place is just for Jeep Fest. They built an obstacle course. The obstacle course stays there all year, but it's only one time a year they use it.
Okay. So it's not open to like, hey, you can go all year and be able to kind of mess and get prepared.
No,
I love that.
just Jeep Fest, just the sheriff's department leases it. And but it's a 3-day event. Now it's a 4-day event. Because I'll never forget, it was so funny because we were part of that. When I say part of that, we're literally part of that. Either the third or fourth Jeep Fest behind Ingles.
Mm-hmm.
We're all out there doing our thing. And somebody says, we should go on a night ride.
Okay.
We should do a night ride through the woods. And so we actually went to the sheriff's department and says, can we do a night ride? Can we go over there to Dawson Forest area and do a night ride?
Pop on those brights and maybe set up a couple things here and there and go.
Right. And so he says, okay, sure.
Why not?
We'll escort y'all over there and do a night ride. So how the word got out is just, hey, we're doing a night ride tonight. Hey, they're gonna let us do a night ride. So people just tell everybody at Jeep Fest, hey, they're gonna let us do a night ride. So they made the announcement, and they didn't really make an announcement. They said,
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Meet us out here Saturday night behind the Ingles Shopping Center at 10 p.m. and I'll escort y'all to Dawson Forest and do a night ride. Okay. So let's go over to behind the Ingles, 10 o'clock, and do a night ride. We drive over there, and just by that word of mouth, 450 Jeeps.
Wow.
Lined up for a night ride.
Wow.
In the woods, being escorted to Dawson Forest, and then bring you back. So, but once you got in the woods, you're on your own.
Fair play.
Fair play.
You're off of jurisdiction at that
yeah,
point.
you're
You're
just
not on
escorting you
just to it. Yeah.
across Burnt Mountain in that way. So it started like 10 o'clock that night, but they still couldn't take so many Jeeps on the road. They had to break it up.
That's true. Yeah, because that would look very special with the 400 going.
So I got back home in Jasper 5:15 that morning.
Wow.
Because it took that long, not just to get to Dawson Forest, but you're riding in the woods.
But you're doing it in waves too.
Yeah, you're in the waves. So that being said, so now they have a night ride every year now, and it's specifically for Thursday night.
Okay.
Jeep Fest used to start on Friday night or Friday afternoon.
Yeah, people getting off of work and they go. Yeah.
And then go just most of the main event on Saturday. But because the night ride has gotten so big now, it actually starts on Thursday, and Thursday night's always the night ride. And now the night ride is like 2,000 Jeeps.
Oh my word.
2,400 Jeeps. And they pick a location that they're going to do the night ride. Last year I did the night ride. They built a church in Jasper, Revolution.
Yeah.
Revolution
They
Church.
got multiple churches all around. And
Right, there's one in Jasper. Big parking lot. We got over there at 8:30 Thursday night. 1,000 Jeeps in the parking lot.
Just waiting.
Just waiting. And we never left the parking lot until 11 o'clock that night because they can only take so many hundred
at a time.
At a time.
Which makes sense as a safety reason.
Yeah. So the popularity of that, it's one of the big ones now. And that's the other fun thing about having a Jeep.
You got that big family.
You got Jeep Fest in Jasper. You got Jeep Week in Daytona, where you used to have Bike Week.
Yeah.
Now you have Jeep Week in Daytona. You have Jeep Jam in Panama City. Next, I think it's in 2 weeks, you have Jeep Week in Gatlinburg.
Okay.
So the Jeep thing is all over the world now. All these big events, big trail ride events. Some guys in our group, they went out west just 2 weeks ago. There was a place out like Utah that was...
I'm sure they're all over the world now.
Yeah, they're all over the world now. It's just, it's bigger and bigger. But that's the nice thing about Jeepers, one person with a Jeep, another person with a Jeep. When you're in the woods Jeeping with all different nationalities.
Oh, yeah. People from all over.
Different
love
race,
it. They want the culture.
They got a Jeep. If they break down or they're stuck or they're up against a tree and they can't get their Jeep out, no one drives by them because they're green or purple or black.
Yeah.
Jeepers help Jeepers. And they're going to help other people, but especially in the woods.
Oh yeah.
You know, the
But
Jeepers
you
are
ain't,
going to
you
have
ain't gonna find a
Jeepers.
Toyota Tacoma or a Corolla in the middle of the woods. If you are, it's probably been dumped there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it didn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So it's a nice thing that it's a kind of a way to communicate with other people and have fun and a way to start conversation. You got a Jeep and you pull up another picture on the Jeep and you start talking to them about your Jeep, kind of thing. So because we live in a world today where everybody's so. No one wants to talk to
Divided. Yeah.
nobody. Nobody wants to help anybody. See somebody broke down on the side of the road.
You're
can
afraid to
sit
pull
there.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd sit there for hours. You see a
Yep.
Jeep parked on the side of the road, broke down on the side of the road, and you're in a Jeep. Boom, he's stopping to help. And even now, we had a guy. I'll never forget it. We had a young man that bought him a Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
He actually, God bless him, he was ex-military, had some issues happen, had to, from, going to Iraq, all this stuff.
PTSD kind of
Going
deal.
through the PTSD
Yeah.
thing. The counselor, whatever he's going through, decide, hey, maybe go buy a Jeep.
Build a community. Yeah.
Build a community. Make you feel good to go out in the woods, So a young man goes and buys him a brand new Rubicon, and hey, I got a Jeep.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes with all of us, a couple of times on the trails. It really helped his mental state.
Having a community can change your life.
Yeah, and
Change your life.
But he's still a young man. That's another thing that we try to tell Jeepers. Do not go off-roading by yourself. So he went off-roading by himself, got stuck in the woods, got stuck in a mud hole, could not get out.
Oh.
And just, boom, Facebook, hey, I'm over here at
such and such
and such place. I'm buried in the mud. I can't get out by myself. Within 30 minutes, Jeepers jumping in their Jeeps.
Oh, wow.
Driving way back in the woods, and, printing on Facebook or taking the video of them pulling them out. So within an hour, he had Jeepers out there pulling them out.
And then I bet you they had a good time afterwards.
Yeah.
Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah. And just by him putting it on Facebook. Yeah. I need some help. Yeah, we're on our way.
I love it. I love that kind of community there.
So it's a very good little community thing. And, it's still got to do a little prestige. You want to look cool. I think I look cool in my Jeep. And especially you dress it up the way you want to dress it up. And you got different Jeep names. Like me, I'm going to say this. So, guys, it's just the way I am. Y'all know me. Everybody calls mine them Pavement Princess.
Pavement Princess?
Pavement Princess.
Pavement Princess.
Pavement Princess. Okay. Because I don't like to get in the mud. Yeah. So I'm like a little princess. I don't like to get it dirty.
It takes a lot to clean.
Mine got the name Pavement Princess from some lady friends that we went to Iron Mountain, which is just like big mud pits. We would come up to the big mud pits and I would drive around them. I would not go through them.
Oh, man.
And then, of course, you got the mall crawlers. The mall crawlers just cruise the malls.
Yep.
They never take it off-road. I do take mine off-road, but I do try to stay out of the mud holes and the mud pits. But the mall crawlers, theirs have got the big 20-inch tires.
The big old tires.
And they're just to cruise the mall. So that's why we call them the mall crawlers. And then we got the rock crawlers. They've got suspensions like you could not imagine. And they can crawl up the side of Stone Mountain. With those things.
I love seeing whenever you drive by a dealership somewhere or out in someone's front yard, they built rocks on it and you show the suspension on it. I'm like, they're proud of that Jeep. They're proud of that. Now, where do you see the future of the Jeep going? Is there an electric one yet? Do you see them making an electric one?
There is an electric one now.
Oh, yeah, the plug-in or something like that?
There is they came out with the hybrids 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
They came out with a hybrid first. So whenever Wrangler finally made a hybrid, because the going joke for me,
okay,
I enter my Jeep sometimes in Jeep shows, and I entered my Jeep 2 years ago in a Jeep show, and I thought, I'm winning this Jeep show. I've got first place.
Oh yeah, you got it.
I got this one.
Dressed up.
Yeah, got it all dressed up, got it all cleaned up. She's looking good. Guy pulls in a brand new hybrid. and he's got it all dressed up and clean, but it wasn't even 2 days old, but it was clean.
Yeah.
It was nice. And it was a nice Jeep. He beat me out. He won first place.
It was brand new, and
Yeah.
they just, yeah.
So my buddies now, they're going to joke, oh, you got beat by a hybrid?
Oh, man.
Yeah. I can't believe a hybrid beat me out.
That's crazy, I guess.
So now I guess when an electric one beats me out, you got beat by an electric Jeep? But yes, they do make an electric Jeep now.
See, I was wondering, you never know.
Well,
in the
I'm saying
future.
electric. It's still, I guess it's still a hybrid because it's not full electric.
It runs
It still
gas.
runs
and it's
gas.
Like the Priuses, a bunch of them run gas.
Yeah, so
and,
kind of like, but it's more electric than it is what you want to call hybrid
okay.
because you got to plug it in. And it's pretty much can run all electric all the time. But same thing, I'm assuming now, somebody can correct you when they hear this broadcast.
Yeah, they'll leave us a comment. Send us an email.
Yeah, they can send you a comment then. I don't think they can make a full electric because there's no plugins in the woods.
That's a true statement.
So from my understanding, the newest ones now, the 24s that are coming out, they're still going to be, well, we won't say full electric, but still be gas.
Okay.
Because if you're out in the woods,
You're stuck at that point. You can't charge
you
it.
can,
What are you
so
going to
you
do?
can flip it over to gas to get you out of the woods, I guess.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of that, and that's going to be a hard sell fully. I don't know how to really go into that with electric and gas, and that's a whole political realm that I don't even want to get into with cars. That's a totally different world.
Yeah.
But who knows? Do you think they'll ever make a self-driving Jeep?
I hope not. I drive a tractor and trailer for a living now,
True.
35 years, and they're claiming they want to give me, self-driving big trucks. And
I don't know how I feel about that.
I hope not.
It's my old man.
I don't want to be
out.
on 285 and see
Nobody behind the
self-driving
wheel.
tractor trailer going around me. I don't think that's ever going to happen because at the same time, how are you going to make anything? Some people don't realize, and not really getting off the subject because Jeep's kind of going to fall in this category, what a tractor trailer does. A tractor trailer can haul up to 48,000 pounds of weight. Can't oversee 80,000 pound gross weight.
Gotcha.
So the back of that trailer can hold 48,500 pounds of weight.
Okay.
So it can gross out at 79.9.
Okay.
So how are you going to make electric, because they want to make them electric.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to make an electric, self-driving tractor trailer weighing at 79,000 pounds go down the highway?
And getting turns too. Getting those turns is a totally different world.
So same thing with Jeeps. How are you going to give this Jeep enough torque to get it up the side of a mountain or to climb down in a hole to rescue? They use a lot of Jeeps now for rescue. How are you going to take this,
Jeep off-road to get it.
Jeep off-road to get it to do what it's built for?
Who knows where the future comes?
Because it's all built for, the Jeep was built for one reason, to help the troops in World War II. It was the only thing they could come up with that could take the terrain. Because that's the one thing, even Jeeps today. My old 1979 CJ7, when I first time I put it in a mud hole deeper than a lake, or even the Jeeps today, the 2018, I'll give you an example. Because I was like, I'm nervous. Probably the most nervous I've been in my Jeep.
Okay.
We went on a Jeep ride up towards Lake Arrowhead.
Okay.
And in this section, we had to cross part of the river. So part of the Etowah River. We had to cross. Only place we had to cross.
Gotcha.
And when we come up to it, it looked deep. But they felt like, okay, stay on these rocks on this right side. Stay on this rocks over here. Stay on these rocks over here. I think you'll be safe. I think we'll all be safe.
Gotcha.
So the first Jeep went across it. He was safe.
Yeah.
My turn. But it's still deep. When the first Jeep goes across it, it's got a 4-inch lift with 37s on it. And the water is over the top of his hood.
Ooh.
It's deep.
Yeah.
So same thing. So I go across it. And as I'm going across it, water is over the top of my hood.
Yeah, and then you're afraid of it stalling out. You're afraid
Exactly.
of all,
I'm afraid of
yeah.
it stalling out. I'm afraid of it going to start floating. You know, I mean, I'm crossing the river, and it crossed it, no problem. As of today, here, still no problems. It didn't kill it. It's built
For that kind of stuff.
for that kind of stuff.
Now, do you have a snorkel at that time?
I don't have a snorkel.
Didn't have a snorkel?
No, I can go deeper if I had a snorkel.
That's true.
Yeah, you still can't get it so deep.
That's true.
You gotta have a snorkel. But it's still built. It's still built to do what it's built for, to go off road.
That's what matters when you get really down to it. It's got to
Yeah.
be built what it's there for.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything that I may have missed that you want to discuss or anything of that sort, or do we think we hit some good high spots?
I think we hit some pretty good spots. Pretty much just about it. It's just a vehicle that people can take off road, and it's just a vehicle that you can dress up in any kind of way. You can dress up in any kind of colors. It's something that people can join a club, to get to know people in the community. So it's really just a fun, I call it my fun toy,
Yeah.
my man toy.
There you go.
I call it my man toy. So it's just something that, like, I have a Ford Fusion that I drive to work every day.
Baby blue.
I never
powder
drive.
blue.
I never drive the Jeep. The Jeep is my weekend fun toy. It's not an everyday. It's people that has them that are everyday vehicles. They obviously don't drive very far to go to work.
That's true, Sam. If you drive far, you're spending a lot of extra money on
You
gas.
spend a lot of extra money in gas. So yeah, it's just a fun toy. I'm hoping the fun toy Jeep Crave stays really excited for the next couple of years, because that's the other great thing about Jeeps right now. Hold their resale value unbelievable.
That is true.
They sell them quick. And even going back, so I paid $2,000 for my 1979 CJ7. And my 1979 CJ7 was a delivery mail Jeep, but still four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
All the same thing. And I bought it, so it was in 1979, but I bought it in 1999, 2000. And I paid $2,000 for it. I put a 3-inch lift kit on it, 2.5-inch lift kit, 3-inch. I put some 35 wheels and tires on it.
Dress it up, make it look a little
Dressed it
different.
up a little bit to where it didn't look like a, delivery mail Jeep. Had it painted black. Put some, decals on it. Dressed it up a little more. Redone the seats to like nice leather. Speaking of
Because
leather,
you like your leather seats.
I do like my leather seats. Some nice leather seats in it. Redone the seats. Not much. Just
Spend a couple thousand just to kind of
spend a couple
put it in.
thousand. Dress it up.
Yeah.
And so for 6 years, I took it in the most woods that you'd ever believe in. I've taken it in the biggest mud holes you could ever believe in. Just anywhere I wanted to take it.
Yeah.
Nice thing about those year models, I've been drive down 575 and hit a thunderstorm with no top on. That rains hard.
Oh,
You're going 55 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
exactly. I know with motorcycles, hearing from them being like, holy moly, it hits. You feel like you're getting stung every
Yeah.
2 seconds. Like,
Exactly. I got caught in many thunderstorms with the Jeep, with the doors off and the top off. But that's the nice thing about the old Jeeps. The old Jeeps didn't have computers in them.
oh, they didn't overheat. They didn't do all that. They could overheat, but they didn't have that shutdown from it.
Well, not only that, first time I've seen it on Facebook, I thought, somebody should have told you that, dummy. Take the doors off, take the top off. Yeah, it's fun. You got a 2020, Rubicon. My Jeep's a 2018. Everything in my dashboard of my Jeep, from navigation to, it's an unlimited. So it's got the video,
everything.
it's got everything.
It all runs off
that's
that
a computer.
Yep.
All that on that dashboard is a computer. You got your top off. You got your doors off. Now it starts pouring down rain. Water gets down in that computer stuff. Same thing, you taking that laptop and dumping it in the water. It's not going to work too good later on. So, hey, my Jeep's doing this. My Jeep's doing this. My Jeep's doing that.
Good.
Yeah, because you had your top off in a thunderstorm. My old CJ, I could drive it all the way to Florida with
Nothing.
thunderstorm. Nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't have nothing in there to tear up. So in 2017,
Okay.
I wanted to buy my 2018, and I also needed to sell my Jeep. I wanted, extra money.
You don't want to have the extra 2. You need to take that money and get the next one.
Yeah, to get the next one. So I put my 2,000. So I bought it, paid $2,000 for it, dressed it up just a little bit, not much.
Put a little bit of 1,000, 2,000, 2,000.
Yeah, a couple more $1,000 in it.
5,000. We'll just say 3,000. Put $5,000 on it.
Advertised it on, Jeep, whatever, to sell it. Whatever I advertised it on, I can't remember.
Yeah, but you advertise it somewhere to get sold.
Yeah, Facebook or somewhere.
Yeah.
1979 CJ7, pictures of it, $10,000. 3 days later, man in North Carolina calls me up, lives on a little, small little horse farm in North Carolina. Says, hey, I've been looking for just an old Jeep to drive around my horse farm and go in the woods and, do whatever I need to do with it. I'll take it.
Wow. Whew.
Never even seen the guy. Sent me the check in the mail.
Did you deliver it?
Nope.
He had somebody come pick it up?
Brought a trucking company down there to pick it up.
Wow.
So they hold their value. That's 1979. They hold their value.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I would buy another one if I can afford another one.
Money. It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Money's a hard thing to come by.
Well, the new ones today are, it's gonna be, if you get a Rubicon, and that's the other big change, and I'm sure that's weighing any car, any truck today. Going back to all those Jeeps we talked about, I mean, you go back to 19
LJ, JKs,
the Wides, the CJs, all that. Let's just say we go back to 1997. That was the 2000 Rubicon. 1997, I guess I could Google that and see. The 1987 YJ, you could probably buy it brand spank new for maybe 15,000.
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah, let's throw a number.
Yeah, just throw a number out there. I'm sure they wasn't that expensive. You go today, 2023, hybrid, Rubicon, unlimited, with a 2.5-inch lift, with just regular, typical wheels. You're ready for off-road.
Yeah.
$82,000.
Oh, my word. Oh, that hurts my soul.
You buy one, they make them now. You can buy a Gladiator with a diesel 492 motor in it, one of the biggest motors that Jeep makes.
Yeah.
Same thing, already having the 3.5-inch lift on it with the big wheels and tires on it, $110,000.
Oh, my word. Oh, we're like Mercedes-Benz, Bentley kind of money here.
Yeah.
We're getting up there.
And so, the price of them today is way up there.
That popularity's reached this big goal, and it's starting to change. That's
exactly what it is.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah. And now you put one up for sale. Hey, I want $30,000 for my Jeep. Or this person had a friend of mine that had a 2015 Rubicon, put it up for sale for like $28,000. Next day, gone.
Wow.
They not only hold their resale value, they go away quick. Somebody buys them quick.
Yeah. Hey, popularity and how available something comes up, what you've done to it in your customization, what somebody likes, they're going to pick it up.
And they're popular. You got all the different Jeep events. Everybody's can't wait till Labor Day weekend for Jeep, Jeep Fest. Everybody can't wait till May the 15th to go to Jeep Jam in, Panama City. Everybody can't wait till the second week in April to go to Daytona for, that one.
Yeah.
One in Gatlinburg. I've never been to one in Gatlinburg. I want to go this year. But, and they're like, I went to the one May the 15th at Panama City.
Different world.
Yeah. But we're talking, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 Jeeps. When I went to Daytona, never forget, I went to the one in Daytona 2 years ago. Stopped at the rest area just outside of Jacksonville or somewhere. Pointed the rest area in my Jeep. 30, 40 Jeeps in the rest area.
Nice.
Come out of the bathroom, Jeeps parked beside me.
Just gone.
So everybody's standing around, stretching their legs, typical stop at the rest
talking.
area. Yeah. Where are you from? Canton, Georgia. Where are you from? Oklahoma. Where are you from? Missouri.
Driving from all over the world.
driving from all over the world to come to these big Jeep events. Oh yeah, man, we tired. We've been driving for 2 nights now. Because we're from such and such place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people come out for it. And then I close out, and I don't know how long, I'll talk forever.
That's okay.
You know me, I like to talk.
I love to talk to you. That's why, for me, sitting on the other side is always, it's
He'd be
hard
like,
for
I
me.
got to cut this thing down. He's been talking all night, all day. His wife's not in here cooking dinner yet, though. Anyway, so the biggest thing is now, and I have a lot of fun with it. I have fun with it come 4th of July weekend because I bought one, and I have fun with it when I put it on top of it. Is the little ducks.
Oh, yeah, the Duck Jeep.
The Duck Jeep. So I went to, and now the wineries, everybody's getting into the Jeep crate. So 5 years ago, Kaya, K-A-Y-A.
We're gonna
Kaya, I guess
we're gonna
Kaya.
butcher it. Kaya, we'll go with Kaya.
Yeah, Kaya Winery started it. Now all the wineries up in Dawsonville and Delanca do it. They have what they call Jeep in the Vines weekend.
Mm.
And bring your Jeep up, and you get to drive through the winery with your Jeep and sit around and get a bottle of wine, and everybody just sits around and talks to Jeeps. And they do a show and shine, do all this stuff. Same thing, just another big Jeep event for the weekend. And a lot of the mall crawlers come out for that.
Oh, yeah, because
They get to drive their Jeep up,
very fancy
winery, and sit around all day with their Jeep. So that's the first time I heard of it. So every time I come out of Kroger Shopping Center or the mall, there'd be a duck on my driver's side door handle. Because the little ducks too come in certain sizes.
Yeah, you got the big ones, small ones, yeah.
The little small ones fit right in the door handle. So that's where you're supposed to put it, like right on the driver's side door handle. So I go to the winery place, Jeep event, and all these people are walking around putting out ducks. And the lady at one of the little things at the check-in tables was selling the ducks.
Oh, okay.
You could buy a bag of ducks for $10 or whatever it was.
And they're all the different types and all the different stuff.
Colors. You can get different styles, all this stuff. I'll tell you one in a minute just to make everybody mad, but I have to tell it. So now it's just, so I asked the lady, what is the big deal about the ducks?
Okay.
What's the duck thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, it comes from the children's book, Duck, Duck, Goose. Well, I don't know the children's book or the story or
I remember the game.
or the rhyme or the game.
I remember the game.
Okay, something about the game then, Duck, Duck, Goose or something. So somebody started it from there saying Duck, Duck, Jeep. And if you see a Jeep that's a nice Jeep and you like that Jeep, then you Duck, Duck, Jeep and you put a duck on it telling that person, hey, nice Jeep, I like your Jeep. And the fun of it is you do it in secret.
Oh, they're not supposed to know it.
They're not supposed to know who put it on there. It's just they come out, oh, somebody ducked me.
Yeah, somebody likes me.
Somebody likes me. They give me a duck. Put a duck on my Jeep. Somebody likes my Jeep. And so it's always a fun thing to do it like in a secret. Nobody knows who put the duck on there, and you come out and there's a little duck on your Jeep.
Now, is it only for Jeeps doing it to other Jeeps, or it could be anybody?
There's only Jeeps doing the Jeep.
Okay.
It's just Duck, Duck, Jeep. Now you can start your own Bronco, Duck, Duck, Bronco.
You got to change it up if you're going to do Duck, Duck, Bronco. You got to get like stuffed animals or something. You got to change it up.
Yeah, I mean, you could do Duck, Duck, a Prius.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, man.
Yeah, I guess you got to get your own little animal, though.
You do need to get a separate animal if you're going to do
Get
it.
a separate animal
down.
for different vehicles. And,
Yeah.
So like if you like that Bronco, you could put a cow on it or something. I don't know.
I love it. Yeah.
Bronco people are like that.
Oh, man. I love it. Hey, why not? Everybody needs to have their own thing. It's kind of
So now the duck thing has gotten crazy because if you go on Amazon, you can buy pink ducks, purple ducks, ducks in tuxedos, ducks in this, ducks in that. So I got to tell this because I got one. I just think it's funny.
What you got?
Now there's a Trump duck.
A Trump duck.
A Trump duck. Got the whole hair cut, shaped like a duck, look like a duck, walk like a duck, talk like a duck. Anyway, I have a Trump duck. Anyway, somebody give me a Trump duck.
Yeah. Hey,
I didn't know they even existed.
everybody to each their own.
Yeah, each is their own. So there's now they're making the little ducks for everything. And so now, of course, when I was in Florida a couple of years ago, same thing. You can buy a duck the whole size of the top of your Jeep.
Oh my word.
So I bought a duck. And so when I'm in Panama City in Florida Jeep Jam, I put the duck on top of my Jeep.
Is it inflatable or is it just like a
Yeah,
straight leg?
It's like
Okay.
you can.
I know I've seen the ones that you can put in ponds that are, oh wow, that is pretty big. Is that like a floaty that you can be able to
It's
put
like
in
a
a pool
floaty,
too?
yeah, but it's a big floaty.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I could float this thing down the Mississippi.
Get on the Mississippi Etowah River and go.
Right. But I put it on top of my Jeep, tie him down. It was funny because this was 4th of July, and I didn't want to have to bother tying it down when I got there.
True.
So I'd done this. Matter of fact, here you'll recognize the place. This is the driveway at my house.
Oh yeah.
So I put him on there and tied him down.
How did that make it down the highway and stuff? I bet you it was flopping
The way I had it tied down.
What did you use?
It would ride at 50 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey,
that's impressive.
Hay haulers know how to tie down.
This is true. You do. And the one thing that you can really look at.
Your grandpa taught me how to tie down hay. This is
one-handed. He can be able to do it and make it the tightest you've ever seen.
This is a hay rope. The kind of rope that they would use to tie down the
big
bell,
straps,
the big straps, like a strap.
Oh, yeah.
And, back then they used just a rope, but it was a particular rope.
Yep.
And they did what they would, I don't even know what the knot was called, but he did a knot where he'd make a knot up here and then pull the rope through the knot and then pull it down.
Yep.
A separate knot. And it would torque that hay down where it wouldn't move. So this was taught to me by your grandpa. And so I did that same type of rope, tied around the duck's neck. It doesn't sound good.
I love it.
It's a fake duck, people.
Yeah, don't come on us, Peter. Don't come down on us.
And so I tied it down the same way with a separate knot. It wouldn't move, so he's sitting up there real nice and tight.
Aww.
So the funny of this was, I had to drive from here to Cumming. So when I was coming through Macedonia and Freeholm on 20, with this big Jeep big duck on the top of my Jeep. And that's another thing funny about Jeeps, because you get people want to look.
That's true.
Kids love it.
They want to get that look. They want to get that something.
Yeah,
that's
kids
true.
love it. I'm driving down the highway and I'm getting, Mommy, look. There's a duck on the man's Jeep. I kept getting all these little kids looking at it and pointing like, he got a big old duck on the top of his Jeep.
What is he doing?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
So, that's another fun thing about him. You get a lot of people that looks at it and
just has a blast.
Yeah, have a blast.
That's the whole point. You're supposed to have
fun thing.
You're supposed to have that nice little bit. Now, the last thing that I love to do before ending out any episode is, this isn't related to Jeeps. You can tie it back into Jeeps if you want to, but what is some worldly advice that you'd like to leave people with? It can be short and sweet. It could be long, drawn out, whatever you feel that anybody could be able to live off of.
Chill.
Like it. Short
Just
and
a
sweet.
word.
Chill. Well,
I've gone through divorce. I've gone through, let's put it this way, I've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations of life, like anybody else. And I tell myself, just chill. I have times now when I get pretty riled up and pretty excited and hollering and, and somebody makes me mad or just life. But when I realize, hey, just chill. It's no big deal.
that's a good point. I love that.
And people have got to chill.
You need to put that in your Jeep. Chill.
Yeah, chill.
Put that somewhere.
Who cares what's going on? Whatever. Just chill.
Yeah.
That's me.
Hey, it's great. I love it. Thank you for tuning in, sitting with us here. I hope you enjoyed hearing about Keith's story before, talking about him growing up and his driving, and then going into the Jeeps and talking about the Jeeps, because it's really nice to let everybody have their own story, because everyone does have one. If you don't ask, you don't know. And I literally called 2 weeks ago, be like, hey, Keith, can you come on and do this episode? And Keith was like, yeah, because it's a passion of his. He loves it. He's enjoyable about it. So he came over and we recorded. We sit down here around 9 in the morning, and now it's about 11 o'clock, and he just had a ball with it. You never know what whenever you hit that passion, what's going to happen, where that thing's going. So thank you all for tuning in. Last minute thing that I like to say, if you want to be able to follow tracks and to email and those sorts for us, my name, Cade, C-A-D-E, You can do Cade at learningfromfriends.com. I have a Facebook page for the podcast. I got a Twitter page. I got a Patreon if you want to be able to give $1, give $100, give $1 million, whatever you feel up to your heart's desire to do so. I'd appreciate it. I do this for free. This is just a hobby of mine that I enjoy, and every little bit goes a long way. So I appreciate it. And definitely most of all, my name is Kay Curtis, your tour guide on this lovely adventure that I like to call Learning from Friends. And don't forget to let your curiosity fly high.